happy to be here today. Yeah, it's been a really, really interesting week of connecting with nature, connecting with something that I created to bring together people of spiritual like mind, curiosity, spirit, openness, a willing to see spirit and see God in a different way. And I was just missing, I'm not a church person, but I was just missing the fellowship and the family and the community of church and the elevation of feeling the spirit move, aside from, doing Ifa work and bembes and drumming and dancing and all that. I was just missing, uh, I would say I was missing church messages of church. Um, so I created this kind of just to bring in some of my spiritual friends to teach, to talk, to grow, to pray, to meditate. And then COVID hit, and I started doing it by myself in my living room and just trying to help myself heal through this process of the pandemic that we're in, that we are still in. And we get so many messages right now about, you know, um, mixed messages like, do you take the vaccine? Do you not take the vaccine? Do you wear your mask? Do you not wear your mask? You wear, Do you wear it outside? Do you wear it inside? There's so much conflicting information, and the media is propaganda, and just you don't know what to believe. So right now, in this life, I will tell you, Omitosin is telling you right now, trust your spirit. Your spirit. Don't trust what the media is telling you. Don't trust what them people is telling you. Don't trust necessarily what the doctor is telling you. Listen to your highest self, your spiritual guidance, and trust what you know to be true in your spirit. That's the message I got from being out in nature this week, was just trust your spirit. I've been out there just trying to connect with my higher version of myself, and understanding why I'm in this place in my life, connecting with the people that are coming into my life, and just trying to be able to discern and be mindful of how I show up to the world, how the people that I walk with and talk with and love and all of that and work with are showing up in the world, and if that's a good representation of who I am. And so cutting down some things will make you get real with yourself, especially if you're doing it like this all day. And I kept thinking about that when I was a teenager, when I was trying to grow some chi-chis, and we do that. We must increase our bust. I don't know if y'all remember that or not, but that's what I was thinking, because they're kind of small. So I'm like, hey, I'm exercising and I'm getting it in. And baby, the next morning my shoulders were like, how old did you say you were? Whew. So, I also wanted to stop before I really open the space the way I normally do with ancestors. This is just kind of my little monologue, I guess. I feel like a talk show host sometimes. I feel like I'm like I'm Jay Leno. Not Jay Leno. Who's my favorite talk show host? I like Jimmy Kimmel. He's funny. I like Jimmy Kimmel. That's who I feel like today. I wanted to give some shouts out. I wanted to make sure that I acknowledge Gathering Roots, my partners, the circle of people and beings and spirits that join together to create a healing space and a wellness and retreat center. I'm sending you all my love. We took a week off of meetings this week. But you know me, I can't stop. So I didn't rest. I was like, oh, I don't have any meetings? I can cut the grass. I can chop down some trees. I can da-da-da-da. And, I stayed in the city for a little while. And then I had my god brother and good friend and I love Baba T. He came out here to visit just to see, we were talking about he has a product that's called BSAP Breeze. And it's hibiscus. He has all these natural juices. There's a soursop, there's hibiscus and ginger and moringa, and they're really healthy drinks, but he wanted to try to see if he could sell them in this market. So we went to a couple of stores and stuff, and I took him out to see Gathering Roots and see the land, and he was just like, of course everyone is in awe, and he asked how he could help. And I was like, I don't know, what do you feel? And he's a bushman, so he walked the land and kind of did his thing, felt it out. I saw he was gone. Like, he was off in the woods and came back and was talking to the trees. And next thing I know, he just started getting tools and, doing work, cutting things down and making things pretty and trimming some things and clearing some things. And then we rented a brush hog. And it was just all for the simple fact that he cares about me. And he's my friend. And I have a spiritual connection. Didn't ask for anything, barely eats. The man does not eat. I don't know how he is looking as fit and as, strong as he is, because he eats nuts and fruits and berries and drinks water with lime in it. That's pretty much the diet. And I know he takes supplements. He takes the same supplements I took. Anyway, I digress. But he has just been a gift from spirit to come and help us do all the, I like to think that I can do all things. That's what, they say, I can do all things through the Lord who strengthens me. No, I can't. climbing trees and all that stuff to cut down brush, and I'm scary anyway. Y'all know I'm a princess. I was like, oh my God, it's gonna touch me. It's spiders. I was warrior princess this weekend. Anyway, shout out to Baba T. Thank you. I'm just eternally grateful for the gift of helping and volunteering to help us do some work. I also want to shout out my girl Monique and Happy Black Girl. They had an event. She's one of my babies. They had an event at Wanawari. What was it called? Paint and Chill. And she said it was very successful. I really wanted to get out here, but I wasn't able to make it. But she said that it was an amazing event. It was her very first event, and I was really trying to be there, and I felt so bad, but because we had guests and I couldn't go. So, and then also I wanted to shout out to Baba Obi Kenkenyo and Stephen Terena. They're doing a Yemaya Bembe today that I'm going to go and pray and get some blessing and get some energy and get some drumming and get some spirit today. So shout out to them. I'm very excited to go connect with some Ifa, Lukumi, and spiritual people today. And then communion. We ate at communion last night. Whew, y'all, if y'all missed the weekend special, it was a crab boil, and let me tell you what, it was so good. It was so good. So thank you to my son Jalen for allowing us to come and sit and eat and drink and all the things. So yeah. And then before I do the libations, I want to kind of put something on people's minds. There are a lot of people that lost somebody this week. The energy of death is like really crazy right now. There are people just, it's my, I'm not gonna tell the number. It's my high school reunion coming up. Glen Oak High School in Canton, Ohio. We're having a reunion, and I was supposed to be on the planning committee, and I just don't have time. But I'm reading all the posts, and I love, learning about people. But yesterday they posted all of the people that graduated from my high school the same year as me that are passed on, and I just sat there and cried this morning reading it. Just people that I knew from childhood, had went to grade school with, from like kindergarten all the way up to high school. Gone. Some of them there was a couple that were just like days ago. William Black, we weren't friends in high school, but we became Facebook friends, I guess. We remembered each other like friends. And he would always ask me to post positive things, and he passed away a few days ago, so sending prayers to his family. And the Gathering Roots, Kalina Lawrence, whose grandfather transitioned this 2 days ago. I think it was 2 days ago. After a long battle with a lot of different things. I'm sending her love and light. She was, and okay, Emery, all right. Guess that's how he was feeling. I love it. He just ran a whole lap. Yep. Okay. All right. That's what we're doing. But I just want to take a minute and just take some breaths and give a moment of silence to those that lost a family member, friend, colleague, somebody you followed on Instagram, Facebook, that you didn't really know but you knew because you followed them. Just those people that have passed on in the last, I'll say, month. Let's take a breath. Inhale in. Thank you. Woo! How y'all doing? Okay, I can stand up now. Ooh, I sat too long. Oh. Move this chair back a little bit, have a little room. Shake it off. Okay, so we're going to begin opening this spiritual space. And now that I've got all the worldly things out of the picture, with a libation. Omitosin, good cool water. Ori tutu, cool head. Ona tutu, cool road. Ile tutu, cool house. Tutu egun, coolness of our ancestors. Tutu Leroye, Tutu the roads and the crossroads, may they be open for you. We give thanks and praise to the spiritual energies of our ancestors that are here with us on this day. We pray for those and give thanks for those that came before us so that we could be here together in this spiritual energy, in this spiritual space together, so that we can love one another and be comfortable in our skin and be comfortable with each other's energy. I give thanks and praise to those ancestors that speak to us in our dreams, that come to us in visions, that show up as signs and symbols and animals and nature and trees and the wind and the water. I give thanks for those spiritual entities that bless my life, that I am able to bless others' lives. I give thanks and praise to my ancestors who bless me on a regular basis. I give thanks and praise to those ancestors that are out there that are covering and protecting and keeping those family members in Louisiana safe. I give thanks and praise to those ancestors that are watching over the babies, that are watching over the elders. I give thanks and praise to all of those ancestors that are here in this spiritual space, in this energy, in the Pacific Northwest. I give thanks for the Duwamish and the Suquamish and the Tulalip and the Muckleshoot. I give thanks for my own tribe, the Lenape, the Blackfeet, the Choctaw. I give thanks and praise to all of those indigenous creatures and spirits that watch over us. I give thanks and praise to the ancestors who cultivated this land. I give thanks and praise to the spiritual ancestors who guide my head, who bless me. I give thanks and praise to those spiritual ancestors who keep all of us safe on this planet, whether we transition from this realm to the other realm, or whether we are here walking in this earthly spiritual energy that we call life. I give thanks and praise to my Ori for waking me up and putting me in the right spiritual space this morning. I give thanks and praise to my body who is not failing me. I give thanks and praise to my body who is strong and getting stronger by the second. I give thanks and praise that I can walk and talk and be here and fellowship with y'all on this day. Ashe, ashe, ashe. So, I am all over the place today, y'all. Been thinking about what it means, and I'm always saying, go to your higher self, right? You always hear me say, stay in your higher self. I'm gonna go to my higher self. As a priest, there's a ritual. I call it a ritual, where if someone is not a priest and they see a priest, they come and they do what's called either kunle, which is down on a knee, or dobale, where they kind of kneel in front of you. And me, as a priest, it's my job and my oath and my honor to pray for that person, to lift them up. D-Day means to lift. D-Day, D-Day. So I do a prayer. And most priests, they go aburu, aboye, aboshishe. D-Day means raise up. Meaning, I pray that your sacrifices aren't in vain. I pray that your blessings come quickly, kind of thing, right? I'm paraphrasing. But I try to keep as a priest, I try to keep my prayers personal, because it's my job to lift someone up, which I don't take lightly. So I pray that most of my prayers are, just things that come to me that Spirit tells me to tell that person. But I try to end it with, I pray that your ancestors show you your highest, most holy self. And I think that's the biggest praise that you could give a person, right? To see your highest, most holy self means that you are knowing yourself, you are seeing yourself, you are showing up in a way that's of love, not fear, that you are walking in light, trying to walk in goodness, not wishing anybody any harm or spewing bad things about people or running your mouth about somebody's business that you ain't got no business running it about, or speaking down on somebody based on age, gender, race, whatever. staying in your getting into your highest, most holy self is not some ascension where you raise up into the clouds and go to heaven, or a golden ticket to get to heaven, because like, what does that really mean? Raising to your highest, most holy self means that you know yourself well enough to know what triggers you. You are working, you're doing self-care, you're taking care of yourself, you're treating other people, other humans, the way you would want to be treated if you had the same condition, appearance, whatever it is that we judge people about. I don't know what that was. Oh, that was my grandpa. Oh, can you put a rock on all of those so they don't fly away? My little altar over here has pictures of I brought some pictures of my ancestors, my mama, my grandma, my grandfather. They were tucked in my Bible. So I wanted to bring them into the space. But anyway, see, you can use the big ones. Big rocks, it's okay. Thank you. What was I saying? I'm in a pause moment. I was talking about getting into your higher self. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about what that means and how do you get to your higher self? Know thyself. People say that all the time. So I started reading this book. This is one of my favorite books to help me get into my own spiritual consciousness. It's called Inner Peace, the Ifa Concept of Ori. Now, if you ever have watched me do this gathering, Sunday service, whatever you call me, I always talk about your Ori, which is your mind, your actual thoughts, your mind, your human mind, or your human consciousness. There are three levels of your mind, but this is what I'm going to talk about today. The Yoruba word ipanri. So let me read this to you. The Yoruba word ipanri does not translate easily into English. Most Yoruba words don't. Ipo, it's spelled Iponri, iponri. Ipo means big toe, and Ori means head. The combination of these two suggests the idea of total self from head to toe. Know thyself. You know your body parts. You know what issues you have. You know what glitches you have. You know all the bumps and bruises and warts and scars. You know all of that. The inner stuff, the inner stuff you might not know as well, but you know you physically. You pretty much, if you're paying attention and if you're watching me, you probably are one of those people who knows your mind and how you think and the way you process things. I know I am slow. I'm a slow processor. I'm a Taurus to my core. It has to be, I have tunnel vision at times. I can only see straight ahead, which doesn't always serve you. But I'm a slow processor, so you know what your mind does. You know how you think about things. You know the filters. If you are trying to, ascend, if you will, into your higher self, you're learning those things that trigger you, those things that hurt you, the things that somebody says that could make you go into a spiral of emotional whatever. So you're learning yourself and you're knowing yourself, and it's a constant battle because it's changing every day. You're changing every day. You're learning new things. You're seeing new things. Hopefully you're paying attention to signs and symbols that show up. We were driving back from the farm yesterday, and my partner was driving, and it was like every slow, elderly, small person, those people that drive like the steering wheel's here, and they're like this, was driving in front of us the whole way from Auburn back into the city. It was like we would lose one and another would show up. It was like, okay. And I just had to say, I was like, look, there must be a reason you're supposed to slow down. We do not need to rush. There might be an accident waiting to happen far down the road that because we slowed down and paid attention to the fact that there's certain things that are slowing us down physically, that spiritually, my ancestors might be protecting me from getting in a car accident and getting off the highway. Because that person that was doing whatever they did to cause the accident, it may have been it might have been avoiding an accident just by slowing down. So I learned to listen to those kind of messages. Like, if it's kind of a known thing in Ifa, if you are dropping stuff and spilling stuff and dropping food and spilling water, you might want to tend to your ancestor altar, because you might want to feed your ancestors, because they might be trying to get your attention, right? It's kind of a joke, when you spill water, like, oh, you better put some water on that altar. But it's true. It's like, I've noticed that I've done it, and then the energy around me changed. Put a little plate of fruit or a little whatever it is that you do. If you don't have an ancestor altar and these things are happening, you might need to build one. Omi, how do you build an ancestor altar? It's very simple. You can get a table like this one, a little small table. It could be a milk crate. It's the intention and the energy that you're putting behind it. I've seen some elaborate things with fabric hanging from the ceilings and, big gaudy, pots and all that kind of stuff, which is beautiful, but it's not practical for me. For me and mine, real simple. I have symbols of I have a table. I have white cloth on it, or no cloth at all. Just kind of depends on how you feel. You put a tablecloth on it. This is my grandmother's Bible. This is kind of like the focal point of my altar. One, because it's huge. It's huge. And it's full of, like, little notes that my grandmother wrote. And you know how your grandma's Bible has all the obituaries, all the people in it? Well, my grandma was that grandma. And it has notes of things that she actually wrote. When she was studying her Bible, my grandmother was an evangelist for the Lord. Like, for real. And she was serious about it. She would get my grandmother, and I know I tell stories about my grandmother because I love her so much, and she is part of who I have become. And when my grandfather passed away, they had a house. It was a 2-story house. Gutted the room that she spent the most time in. She had this room that had these 2 recliners and the TV, so she could watch Tiger Woods. And she gutted that house, and she put red, I am not joking, blood red carpet in that room. Now, her favorite colors were red, black, and white, which is a whole nother story, right? My grandmother was definitely of the mother's tribe. She was the mother of the church. She was the mother of her job, or like she cleaned houses for this Jewish family growing up, and she was like the mother of the house, and that's just who she was. Ironically enough, we're doing a bembe today to Yemaya, the great mother. But my grandmother liked red, black, and white. So she put this red carpet down, and I asked her, and I said, Grand, why red carpet? Do you love the color red so much? She was like, no, this is where I get down in the blood. Because she would sit down on the floor with this Bible and all her little papers and stuff, and she would just be studying for the word that she was going to give on Sunday. And she said, this is where I get in the blood. And she was literally, when she got older, she could only sit in the recliner. But when she was younger, she would sit down on that floor and get in this Bible and start writing and taking notes and stuff. So this is the focal point of my my ancestor altar. Key things to have on your ancestor altar: water. I like white candles, those cylindrical church candles, 7-day candles. That's what they call them. Water, some sort of spirit, because my family were drinkers. They liked, and my ancestors they made bathtub gin, so like liquor was a thing in our family. They were bootleggers. My ancestors from West Virginia were bootleggers. So I have some spirits on my altar, and just little knickknacks. I have my grandmother's brooch. I have pictures of the people that have passed on. You don't want to put pictures of anyone that is living. So if there's a picture of you and your grandfather that had passed away, don't put that on there. But if there's a picture of them by themselves, that's okay. And just sit there. I have a little stool that I pull out because my apartment is small. I got a tiny little altar. And I just sit in front of it and light a candle, freshen the water every week, give them offerings when I can, offerings of fruit, the things they like. On my mother's birthday, I put a birthday cake and champagne because she liked champagne. She was decadent. She liked nice stuff, chocolate and champagne. and sit and call on them. Now, if you don't have any pictures or any kind of effects from your personal effects from your passed on relatives or what have you, write their names down. And the prayer is, I give thanks and praise to my ancestors, those known and unknown. I am bone of your bone, blood of your blood, flesh of your flesh, spirit of your spirit, and I'm connecting with you. Real simple. I'll type that up and put it on the gathering page. I like to keep this stuff practical because people get so caught up in the woo-woo and the pomp and circumstance and the dogma, and you got to do this 3 times a day and change the water once a week and da-da-da-da. Do what I say. What did I say in the beginning? I said, trust yourself. That's getting to your higher self, because you know what your ancestors are saying to you. I can't tell you what to do. I can just give you a guideline, and you can trust your gut. Put little things on it that mean something to you and an ancestor. You know, my mom and I like champagne, so I put, don't judge, Martini Rossi Asti Spumante was my mom's cheap champagne of choice. And it's so good. It tastes like sweet, sparkly apple juice that gives you a really nice buzz. So I put that on there. Ancestor Altar. So, getting to your higher self. Let me go back to that. So Iponri. Ipo means big toe, or Ri means head. In the Ifa ritual, the big toe is considered to be the place where the individual is linked to the consciousness of the ancestors. When we do ritual, there are times when they put eje on your big toe to represent the blood from your ancestors, right? And the connection with them. The word Iponri is used in Ifa to refer to our invisible counterpart living in the realm of the ancestors, your highest spiritual self. Because at some point, we all going to die and become an ancestor. This is kind of like the prelude to you getting there, is stepping into this higher consciousness. So when you are an ancestor, you can be an exalted one and bless your children, grandchildren, and all the people, right? In simple terms, the human spirit is linked to a range of spiritual beings, and together they guide and inform the Iponri. This is what got me. I had to underline this part. Consciousness is a house with many rooms, and each room has its own source of illumination. I'm going to read that again. Consciousness is a house with many rooms, and each room has its own source of illumination. So, what I took that to mean for talking about our highest self. Someone said, Baba Femi, my godfather and mentor, said to me once, Omi, because I'm a daughter of Yemaya, we carry a lot of emotion. That water gets to churning up. Ask them people in New Orleans right now. That water is churning up. They praying to Yemaya right now. And Oya right now. Because that wind and water is kicking it in, right? So we have to, emotions are represented by water. So for me, Baba Femi said to me, Omi, part of your destiny journey in this life as a priest is to learn to separate ego and emotion from an experience and just see it for what it is. There's no good, there's no bad, there's no evil, there's no, whatever. It just is what it is. Someone steps on my foot. I get offended. I'm like, you stepped on my foot, yada, 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 whatever. Right? You stepped on my J's. And I'm offended. You was just walking. For all I know, you were walking with a limp and hurt your leg. And you couldn't get around, because I was just standing there, and you couldn't get around me. And the only way you could lift that foot was to hit my J. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what an experience is. All the truth of it is this person walked and kicked my J's. I know I'm being silly and I'm using a hip-hop reference, but it's a real thing. But you don't know the experience or the energy or what that person had been through or what the reasoning was. All you know is you hit my shoes. I'm pissed off about it. I paid $200 for these shoes. They were crispy white till you hit them. Now they got scuffs on them. And you're putting all this emotion into it. And then the ego says, my joints were crispy when you hit them. Now they're depreciating in value because they got a scuff on them. But the truth of the matter is, this person was walking, didn't see you, whatever reason, hit your shoe. Now you all mad about it. Why? Because you let emotion and ego create an experience for you, which created an emotion for you, which could have created a fight for you, could have ended your life. You know what I'm saying? I've had a situation where I was betrayed by a lover. And I was so hurt and devastated, and it was public. It was like public knowledge, like everybody knew. He left me for this other person. Devastated. Cried, all the things. Felt divided. My friends were divided. Nobody knew who to talk to, who not to talk to, all this stuff, right? And then I had to realize there is a reason this person is no longer in my life. And the catalyst for that was whatever thing that they did or I did that made them decide they didn't want to be with me anymore. Or they wanted that other person or their needs better, whatever. So I had to stop, instead of being so upset about it, be like, you know what? I can't take it personal. I can just be like, he made a decision. He decided to go with this decision. For whatever reason, he decided to go with that decision. And I have to stay in my highest self by understanding that at the beginning of it all, it don't got nothing to do with me. Woo. That wasn't where I was going with that, but that was pretty good, right? It has nothing to do with me. Like, why am I so upset? If they prefer to go over here and be with this other person, you go right on over here, there, and be with that person, please. And free yourself and free me. Because if that's how all it took for you to do that, you was going to do it anyway. I didn't see you right, wasn't able to discern you right, didn't know that you was that kind of person. Now I know I need to make other choices and decisions for myself in my life and stay in my highest self and not killing it, bro. That part. Or, we get so caught up in ego and emotion in situations, and there's really only two things that you can look at a situation. You can look at it for what it is, or you can put your ego and emotion into it and sink to a lower vibration. Where are we vibrating from? I keep saying that. I swear I'm gonna get a shirt. I'm gonna make a shirt. That's gonna be our gathering t-shirt. The gathering on the back is gonna say, where are you vibrating from? ... Are you vibrating from a sense of fear? Are you vibrating from a sense of there's only two things. There's fear and love. Are you fearful or are you in love? Fear says, I wasted my money on $200 sneakers, and now I got to pay more money to get them cleaned and fixed, and now they're not going to be worth anything if I decide to sell them or take them back. But the person was just walking. Maybe they had I hate to use the word gimpy, but they were dragging the foot. I'm just saying, you don't know the experience. And forgive me if that was rude. That was probably rude. I shouldn't have said that. I take that back. I don't know the best word. Disabled, maybe? Okay, we'll go with that. I really didn't mean to be offensive with that, so I apologize. Buddy Pawn reading. So, consciousness is a house with many rooms, and each of its rooms has a source of illumination. Meaning there's light inside of every situation in your consciousness. You just got to find it and rise above the ego and the emotion of it. Yeah, that came out right. You have to go in and find, it's like you have to find the light in all, the silver lining, the cup half full, and all of these things. I try to be a cup half full person, but situations and things that I've been through have led me to start looking at things half empty, which is not abundance. That's scarcity thinking, and you don't want to be in scarcity thinking. Scarcity thinking takes you to a lower vibration and will not lead you to your highest self, which is what this elevation, ascendance that people keep talking about during the Aquarian age. We're all going to ascend. No, we're all going to start actually living unconditional love, because there'll be no more fear in the world. Make sense? The evidence, wait, what did I say? You can feel their presence. So when you're talking about spiritual beings around you, we witchy people can feel, see, hear, taste, smell, know, clairvoyant, clairsentient, claircognizant, all of the clairs, when spirit is around, right? For me, spirit usually shows up during divination. It's just a thing with me, and I'm able to like give messages or whatever. But you can feel their presence. At times you catch a glimpse of them out of the corner of your eye. Now I know everybody, not everybody. A lot of seeing that thing move in the corner of your eye and there's nothing there. That's just spiritual energy. You're able to see the unseen. And there's been times we're like, did you see that? We're like, oh yeah, I saw it too. Oh, so now we really, when you get around other spiritual people, like, what? Did you see that sign and symbol, that dragon? There was literally a dragonfly that kept trying to dive bomb me the other day. So I'm trying to figure out the symbology of the dragonfly, and I haven't had time to look it up yet. I think it's joy, and and I'm trying to find it, y'all. In contrast, Ifa cosmology is based on the observation that everything in nature is endowed with a consciousness or spirit. Now, I know that traditional native culture, indigenous culture, also believes the plant spirits and the rock spirits and a force of nature. Everything has a spiritual construct and an energy with it. That's why plants droop when they don't get water, or they turn yellow, or you can tell by what's in the soil how the leaves are going to turn out. If they turn yellow, you might have too much acid or whatever it is. When you cut flowers at their root, they're pretty to look at, but they die. Shay has moved on. Forces of nature have their unique forms of consciousness and understanding. These various expressions, spirit gives us, understanding these various expressions, spirit gives us a sense of our relationship with the world around us, which is really, in essence, a spirit relationship with yourself, a relationship with your higher self, because we are all reflections of each other. If Brianna's having a bad day, and I could see it in her face, it's probably because I have too, at one point, maybe in that moment, was having a bad day, and be like, what's up with you? Oh yeah, I'm feeling it too. Yeah, we both, I'll talk to you later, because I'm not going to be good for you right now. You definitely are not going to be good for me, so let's just go to our separate corners and come back later when we're both feeling better. If more people would do that in relationship, life would be so much easier. Like, I'm on my shit right now. Let me just go ahead and distance myself from everybody so I can be in my own bullshit by myself and not project it on those that I love. Because that's what we do. People that we love the most, you'd be like, why you doing that? Start picking, and then it turns into a fight, and then everybody's mad. And why? Because you was feeling the way and you couldn't just be like, you know what, I'm tripping right now. Let me go over here and leave these people alone before I start some stuff. Okay. So that being said, this was the part that got me. And I'm sorry if I'm reading too much, but I was reading this yesterday and it just had me like, I'm a daughter of the ocean. I'm a daughter of Yemoja. I wore all my blues today for y'all because one, I didn't know what I wanted to communicate clearly. So I got a lot of turquoise on, but I just love the spirit of the ocean. Forces of nature have their own unique forms of consciousness and understanding. And understanding these various expressions of spirit gives a sense of our relationship to the world around us. I said that already. I've been to the ocean and felt the nurturing spirit of salt water bring resolution to an inner conflict. Now, I go pray at the ocean when I can. When I was in Texas, I did it way more because the ocean was like bathwater. But I just always feel better when I talk to Mother Yemoja. Whether the problem is, and the problem is still there. I drove in praying for resolution. I drove in, got out the car, went to the water, did my prayers, gave an offering, got back in the car. The problem was still there, but I felt better. The universe is filled with hydrogen. The universe is filled with hydrogen. Water is a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. I'm about to get deep on y'all. Stay with me. A planet needs water to form oxygen, but water is made from oxygen. So how does this happen? What this author says, it's awo. Awo is the secrets or the mysteries. Um, and so it's awo, which is the mystery of the seven seas. I address the ocean using the Yoruba word olokun. Olokun is a form of Orisha, or a spiritual being that is part of force, as a force of nature. But I don't believe the inner spirit of the ocean is African, European, Asian, Christian, Buddhist, or Hindu. The consciousness of a force in nature predates human evolution and predates all culture. Because if you think about it, the ocean was here before we gave her a name. Now that's kind of deep, right? Yeah. The ocean was the first thing on this planet. Water was the first thing on this planet. We are made of water. Water is everywhere, right? So we give this name Olokun, Yemanja, water, Omi. But water was here before all of this, before the Orishas, before the, I just find it really interesting that the ocean was here before we gave her a name. So that is to say that all of these labels and things that we put on everything is part of their ashe that we've given them as humans. The study of Ifa, of the collective wisdom of Yoruba ancestors and their effort to understand and explain the mysteries around them. Let me read that again. The study of Ifa is the study of the collective wisdom of Yoruba ancestors and their effort to understand and explain the mysteries around them. So, what that means is our people, the Yoruba people, my people, created Ifa and used Ifa and studied Ifa as a way to understand nature. Ifa means the wisdom of nature, period. So we're learning how, we are made up of water, and our emotions can be that storm of, that's how they associate emotions with water. If you breathe and pray into your water and bless it, there's scientific studies that show that the water is more healthy, more beneficial. I speak to the water that I pray into my water before I plant. I use it on my plants. Before I drink it sometimes, I try to pray into my water to give myself that spiritual blessing, because water holds everything. Think about it. Any spiritual study of cosmology projects into nature and the characteristics of human interaction, because that's our most immediate frame of reference, is how we humans, people, associate with nature. You got rain gear, you got snow gear, you got boots, all of these things to deal with the elements, which is forces of nature. Water, wind. We don't live outside. We have shelter to protect us from all of the elements, forces of nature. We use crystals to change our energy, because there's an energetic energy in rocks and crystals that help. The energy of the rocks connects with our energy of the water and creates a vibration, which is your aura, or your energetic field, or your chakras, or the energy that's moving the organs in your body. It's all connected. It's all connected. And the way you find your highest self is to study those connections and learn how plant medicine, when you put it in your physical body, can heal the sicknesses and the things in your cells that are made up of water, that are conflicting with the energy that you're trying to have as a functioning, living, thriving human. Wow. I didn't think I was going to get this scientific today. I loved biology. That was like my favorite subject in school. I liked the plants and the except they tried to make us dissect a fetal pig, and I took the F. Because I was talking about my high school people earlier. We had a fetal pig, and the fetal pig is probably about that big. And we had these little metal trays that we're supposed to dissect. We had done the worm. That was the introduction. That was easy. Then we got to the frog. I was like, okay, we dissect the frog. We got to the pig, and then these dudes I was a cheerleader in high school, and these dudes that were on the football team cute to take my little fetal pig and lay it on its side like this, like it was sleeping. So I go to cut the pig, and I'm like, I can't get that pig. Freak out. It's like a cute little baby pig. So it's well came to my So my biology teacher was like, Shannon, you have to do this. And I was like, I'm just going to have to take the F on this one. My mother understood. She know her child. She knew that I was not going to do that. So I didn't get in trouble for it. But I was like, I'm taking the F on this because I'm not cutting this thing. And it was so cute. And then the guys, they thought it was the most hilarious thing. They're like, you really are a princess. I'm like, whatever. I'm not cutting a pig. So anyway, okay, here this. I thought this was interesting too. I can say lightning is more dangerous than thunder. I can also say Shango, the spirit of lightning, carries a metal sword, and Oya, the spirit of the thunder and the wind, carries a wooden sword. I'm still saying the same thing. That had me stuck for a second. I had to read it a few times. Shango, the spirit of lightning, carries a metal sword. Oya, the spirit of thunder and wind, carries a wooden sword. They're both carrying weapons. They're just made of different elements to do different things. And you have to prepare yourself in a different way. So to elevate in your highest self, when it said consciousness is a house of many rooms, and you have to, find the light in that. You find how do you protect yourself from the metal sword or the wooden sword, or why one or the other would be beneficial. This is how we elevate our consciousness. You learn what things, to be practical, you learn what things in you triggers bad behavior, ill words, pettiness. You learn what things make you a jerk. We talked about this on the last Sunday service. What makes you an asshole? For me, jerk, when I'm like, what about me? What about me? You thought about them. What about me? I am the what about me because I was the only child and center of attention, and I was used to being the center of attention. I'm outing myself right now. So it was always like, wait a minute. And I always felt left out because I was the oldest. I left out when my other cousins were doing things. I'd be like, but I want to. And they'd be like, you're too big. You can't go. I'm like, I want to go. What about me? You didn't think about me. And that leads to, that stems from the sense of abandonment that I felt as an only child whose father was absent. What about me? Because I want to be known, to be cared for, to be thought of. Because I'm a pretty thoughtful person, right? I'm a little over thoughtful. That song, Erykah Badu, I'm a recovering undercover overlover. People pleaser. I'm going to do everything you need me to do so that you can think that I'm worthy to be in your presence. I had to stop that. I had to stop being an over pleaser, over nurturer, over caregiver, over lover, over I'm clingy, I like to touch, I want to be like wrapped around you, and it's like, I had to free myself from that because I had to learn where it came from. It came from I don't want to be left. And I want to be seen as someone that is important to you, or, ego shit. Ego shit. Which brings me to this. And I hope y'all are staying with me in this reading because it's really deep, but I'm going to bring it home, I promise. The pulling together of hydrogen and form water is a contractive process. Contractive forces in nature are typically described as being feminine. Right? The gender reference is symbolic and does not mean that the ocean has the personality of a particular woman. The ocean is a self-regulating biosystem capable of reacting in response to pollution and changing weather patterns based on the intention of preserving life on the planet. That was kind of deep. The pulling together of hydrogen and oxygen to form water is a contractive process. In Ifa, water is feminine. We consider water to be a feminine force of nature, a feminine energy, a receptive form of energy. This is saying it's a contractive force of energy. The ocean is listen to this, and think about feminine, water, Yemoja, mother, pregnancy. Think about that while I say this. The ocean is a self-regulating biosystem capable of reacting in response to pollution and changing weather patterns based on the life on the planet. As a mother, my job, as Jalen was growing into my belly, which I really didn't have any physical control over, making sure he was nurtured, right? Making sure that he was comfortable, making sure that he had nothing wrong, making sure that he was able to grow and expand, right? I didn't know that I was a biosystem, but there was a living human in here who survived and came out to survive and take care of himself. But while he was in my belly for 9 months, I was feeding him, I was nurturing him, I was rubbing my belly, I was singing songs, I had Beethoven on a speaker and then I had like Miles Davis and Thelonious Monk and John Coltrane. Jalen loves John Coltrane to this day because I used to put John Coltrane on my belly when he was in me. And I never laid on my stomach. I tried to keep myself comfortable so I wouldn't smash the bed. You learn that. So in essence, the ocean, this is how we connect Ifa. Think about the ocean is its own ecosystem. It's got its own plants, it's got its own animal life, it's got its own rocks and all the things and then all the bullshit we put in the ocean, right? But it still survives and thrives, and the life forces there live there, and it keeps feeding itself to a degree. We as humans, feminine mothers, do the same thing. We nurture the baby, we nurture the seed that grows inside of us. We contract. We took in the sperm, right? Yemoja, spirit of the ocean. Most practitioners of Yemoja are hella emotional. And part of our plight in this destiny that we have is to learn how to balance our emotions. So we're preserving life on the planet. As a mother, we're preserving life on our planet, in our bodies. Right? All these correlations, it just makes me excited. This ability is a reflection of the consciousness of the ocean and is clear evidence the ocean is engaged in some sort of self-preservation based on internal self-regulation. Ooh, I'm going to read that again. That was great. This ability is a reflection of the consciousness of the ocean and is clear evidence that the ocean is engaged in some form of self-preservation based on internal self-regulation. Your highest self. Learning all the things and rising above them to not take you out. Rising above criticism, rising above self-doubt, rising above trust issues, rising above lying, cheating, stealing, whatever it is, you rising above pettiness, all of the things. Rising above it to know that nothing is personal. Woo, I'm talking to myself right now. Nothing is personal. Nothing is personal. If somebody don't like you, if you did something, that could be one thing. But if somebody just don't like you on sight, it got more to do with them than it does with you. You may trigger or remind them of somebody that beat them up in high school, or you may remind them of the person that violated them in some form, or you may remind them of themselves when they don't like themselves. Who knows? Don't take it personal. I'm learning that when people leave my life and decide they don't want to fool with me anymore, I wish you well. Peace be the journey. I'm not trying to hold anybody that don't want to be held. Because there are people that I'm like, I can't. I just can't, It's not personal. I'm not mad, but something in you is triggering something in me that makes me uncomfortable, and I'm taking care of me, self-preservation, and regulating myself, removing myself from the situation so I don't act a damn fool and cuss you out. It's that simple. And I'm not the cuss out person. Y'all know me. I'm a teddy bear. Talking trash. But I do know how to say some words that hurt your feelings if I really want to. I got a petty bone. It's a little one, but I got one. Yeah, my petty monster is, I keep her at bay. So, I love that. Yeah. The ocean is clear evidence that the ocean is engaged in some form of self-preservation based on internal self-regulation. Now, where is this? Where is that thing? Check this out. Think about this. This is something to put on your mind. And Fatumbi, Baba, Awo Falakun Fatumbi, thank you for blessing me and blessing the world with this book, because this book helps me see a higher form of myself. It's called Inner Peace, the Ifa Concept of Ori. And it's one of those books that are like, oh, that's an older book. Yeah, whatever. It's good. We will never fully understand her spirit, talking about the ocean. We just get glimpses of her depth by observing her behavior. Hi! The tides, how they come in and out, how the ocean is regulated by the moon, all the things that, if you think about the ocean, there's low tide, there's high tide. Low tide is, you see all the dead things, and, all the things come up from the sand and all of that. High tide, it could wash you out if you're not paying attention. But the ocean has a personality. How does the ocean move? It moves, right? It goes in, it comes out. It's guided by the moon, which is a cosmic force that circulates our planet, that regulates the water. That's why moon cycles, right? Don't get me started on the moon. I'll be here all day. Moon cycles, you know what I'm saying? And magnetic, and how the water moves in and out, and how, you'll see, fish just dried up on the shore, and then you'll also see, I've been swimming in the ocean and we were swimming in the ocean at the Gulf of Mexico, hitting my legs, like it was freaking me out, because it was like, I can't see it, right? And it was these clear fish, and they were swimming past, and apparently I stepped into whatever was and Jalen will attest to this because he was there too, a migration trail. And the fish, so the water is this way. So I'm standing in the water. Let's say I'm looking at the water's going in and out, right? The fish are going sideways. They're not going out. They're not going in. They're going sideways. And if you look, out into the distance, you could see the trail of fish. Hundreds of them.
Oh, wow.
Just moving. And I guess where I was standing was right in the middle of where they were migrating. So I had to move out of their way. But it was super cool, right? The ocean, they had their own highway going on. It don't got nothing to do with me. Not my business. I just, was able to see it. But if you think about the ocean, it's got its own thing going on. So we observe its behavior. If the observations are accurate, we can use this example. Wait, let me read this again. If our observations are accurate, we can use the information to live in harmony with the world. For example, check this out. This is something to make you go. Whales periodically go to ground when they're sick, so they don't infect the rest of the pod. Okay, got that? So whales, the term beached whale, whales go to the shore so that they don't infect their sickness with the rest of the pod. When well-meaning conservationists drag the whale back into the water, they are failing to appreciate the consciousness of the whale and failing to consider the possibility that the whale might have a better understanding of the spirit of the ocean than human beings. That blew my mind. Because if you think about it, we're trying to save the whales, beach as well. And you see it on social media where these people are trying to push the whale back to the water, and they got cranes, and they're trying to lift the whale. The whale's sick. The whale's trying to get the hell away from the rest of the whales and get some sun, and we'll roll back into the water when they need to. But we dumbass humans are like, oh my God, the whales are dying! That whale knows what the hell the whale is doing. Leave the whale alone. Ain't that crazy? I blew my mind this morning. I was like, whoa. So, pay attention to the rhythm of nature. A beached whale does not mean the whale is dead. A beach whale might mean the whale is sick, which doesn't mean we have to take care of it. The whale knows how to take care of its damn self and got to the shore so that it wouldn't affect its family. Quarantine. I started thinking about all kinds of stuff. It was one of those cannabis mornings where I was like, oh, the whales were trying to keep from the pod so they wouldn't get him sick. So that's kind of like COVID and how like people are quarantined. God. But it's real. It's a real thing. So the next time I see some kind of animal like in distress, unless I know that it was physically like harmed or hit by a car, I'm like, we might want to think again before we're trying to save the whales. Because the whales know what the whale is doing. Same thing in the human condition. Example, my brother Baba T was cutting woods and all the things. Now, I don't know shit about clearing no woods or grass. There were snakes on I've seen more snakes this week than I have seen my whole life in person. That's not true, other than Texas. But he's clearing, and he's a spiritual person, so I'm sure he's like talking to the trees, and he's a bush person. And I'm questioning, what are you doing? Well, why'd you cut that? Or what'd you do that? What are you gonna do with that? Why are you putting that there? Because in my mind, it's like, he's volunteering, it's my space, I kind of have a certain way I want things to go, and make sure I'm not violating anything, he's not cutting anything down, I'm all in my human head when he knows what the hell he's doing. Come to find out, he was taking trees, dead stuff, limbs or whatever, and he was building this wall. He's from Louisiana. He knows about levees. And he was building us a buffer and a wind and water levee to keep standing water from coming around the house. But I didn't know, I'm like, what you doing? Why you cutting down the lane? Stay in your lane, homie. And he's a Southern man, so he's like, why are you questioning me? Like, let me do what I do. And I was like, fine. I had an attitude about it, right? And then I recognized this man knows what he's doing. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing, so stop talking. Let him do what he do. Leave him alone and go about your own business. That was my lesson for the week. But I just thought that was fascinating, that story about the whales. You never know. Nature knows how to take care of itself. We regenerating all the time. Humans know how to take care of ourselves. Pretty much. Now, whether we choose to do it or not, that's a whole nother Oprah show. But again, it is not my business, really, to find out if you ate breakfast this morning. It's none of my business. You're a grown person. You know how to take care of yourself. Now, granted, my son, I know his habits. I know he might not eat, or he might eat some craziness. I'll be like, did you eat today? Yes, I ate. What'd you eat? Okay, we good. As long as you got some greens and some nourishment in there, I'm cool. McDonald's. But I digress. But I say that to say, one, stay in your own lane. Stay in your own lane. You know what things you have, you do, you experienced. It's like somebody trying to help you. You're sick. You have an infection or whatever's wrong with you, and they give you penicillin and say, I know this antibiotic, this works great. And you take it. I'm allergic to penicillin. I might die. You know what I'm saying? So I've had to learn to not step in and just do what I know how to do to help people. You kind of have to, that's where consent and asking and all that stuff comes in. But forces of nature know how to heal themselves. And the ego of man is those conservationists out there trying to save whales that are really just quarantining themselves. So crazy. In Ifa, the body is described as a calabash. Everybody know what a calabash is? It's a gourd. You've seen in water jugs that are made out of a gourd. That's a calabash. In Ifa, calabash is symbolic of holding the secrets of nature, kind of thing. So, in Ifa, the body is described as a calabash holding the head and the heart. Ifa teaches that both thoughts and emotions must be in alignment Once this alignment occurs, the total self has access to spiritual power called Ashe. When the self has access to Ashe, it can be used to create alignment with your ancestors and with the forces of nature, meaning connection to sources of illumination beyond your individual personal human experience. Seeing the unseen, paying attention to signs and symbols, listening to your body. When something tells you to sit it down and lay it down, sit it down or lay it down, or I promise you if you don't listen, you will get sick and have no choice. Happens to me every time. Doing too much, and I know I'm doing too much. Doing too much on me, doing too much, you're doing too much. I was pushing this, look, I'm 53 years old, and I was pushing this brush hog. This thing is like a lawnmower on steroids. It cuts everything, right? But it only has 2 wheels. So you gotta push it and then try to steer it like this. I was going uphill. I thought I was Superwoman. I was like, I'm pushing along. I'm like, hi, Barkley. It's Barkley. It's okay. You're fine. Hi, Amma. Anyway, I'm pushing this thing, and I have been having this hip thing. Oh, I'm losing my backdrop. This hip thing, and it's fine, whatever. And all of a sudden, I went to turn a corner like this with that brush hog because it's only got 2 handles. And then, okay, so this is how your brain has to work this thing. You got the right, you got the left. The brakes are like this, and then there's this orange lever that you have to hold down in order for it to go. You squeeze the right lever, you go forward. You squeeze the left lever, you go backwards. Now try to do all that at the same. It's like doing this. I can't even do it. Wait. You know. So I'm trying to do all that and turn this thing, and my hip said pop. I stood there for a second, and I saw Baba T watching me in the distance. My ego was like, "Don't you let him see that you old and hurt. Can't do this, right?" Because I'm like, "I can do it. Yes." I heard that pop. I stood there for a minute, and I just like rotated my hips. I was like, "Okay, let me pop my little hip back into place." And I was getting teased because I was walking like, wait, how was I walking? Like that. I had to go do some stretches and all the things, right? Whew. But I had to learn that if I don't stop when my brain said, Omi, you're doing too much. Spirit's like, okay, you're not listening. Boop! Go sit down. That's what happened to me. So listen to your body, listen to your your mind, and when you're listening to your own mind and your own thoughts, try to filter where they're coming from and whose voice is speaking. Is it the 6-year-old in you that wants to have a temper tantrum because you can't have the cookie in the store, which is often my truth? Was it your mom telling you that you were lazy because you didn't take out the trash, or was it your boss telling you you are never on time? And all these voices and conditioning that we have, you have to be able to filter, to separate ego and emotion so you can get to the truth of everything in your life, which will elevate you to your highest self. As an oath, as a priest, I had to make an oath to myself in spirit, not to any human, to stay in the middle. It's kind of a thing. Staying in the middle means I'm going to have to coach a couple, and they're both beefing. And they got mad, and she slapped him, and he slapped her back. Who you're mad at? And I was like, okay. She's going off about getting slapped. He's going off about her. They're just whatever it is. As a priest, I have to stay in the middle, meaning I can't take her side or his side. I just have to go with the truth. Truth is, you slapped him, he slapped you back. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying he should have. I'm not saying you should have. Both of you guys would probably be better to keep your hands off of each other. However, truth is, there's a deeper issue here. That's why you got your ego in a tizzy and decided the only way you could express your anger was to slap him. And he's like, his ego kicked in, was like, you're not going to slap me and get away with it. And it may have even been a reflex. Pow! Ooh, I didn't mean to hit you. That was a reflex. You hit me and it triggered somebody to hit me before that was same gender, whatever, and I just slapped you back, right? But as a priest, I have to say, it's probably not a good idea to slap anybody, and you guys should get to the root of why you're so angry and why it led to violence and where you learned the violence from. What made you think it was a good idea to put your hands on anybody? It's not your business. It's not your space. It's not your body. Why are you mad? Okay, you're mad because a bill came late and you found it and it wasn't paid and they said it was paid. They lied. Whatever. Why did that trigger you? Because how are you going to lie to me in this relationship? And you just get down to the ridiculousness of the truth. The truth is there's a hurt, something that happened that you didn't forget, and this triggered it. Now y'all are both fighting. I'm using this as an example. But the way to get into your higher self is to see things in the middle and break it down to the microscopic truth. Why are you angry in this moment? Why are you sad in this moment? I have to do that to myself constantly. Why am I, feeling dizzy? Why am I, you haven't eaten anything today? I take care of myself, right? These are also ways to get into your highest self. Nourish your body. If you only eat white stuff, potatoes, chicken, bread, that's a meal of these else. French fries, chicken, and bread is a meal. That's what I'm saying. Everything's white. Think about it. So I had to teach myself to have, I like salad. I love salad. I eat salad all day, every day, all the time. I like raw vegetables. If you just eat a salad, and I had this thing called, blending your yummy in with, the crap. When you're eating something crappy, balance it with something healthy. So if I'm going to eat Ezel's chicken and the daggone rolls, boy, I'm going to have a salad. And it's not going to be a salad with Caesar dressing and all this cheese and whatever on it. It's going to be some vegetables with some vinaigrette, something healthy that I can feel is feeding my body because I just ate all white things. My stepson, I was married, and my stepson was 8, and he went through a phase that all he wanted to eat was white stuff. Bread, chicken, French fries, potatoes, rice, literally. So he's like 7, 8 years old. I think he's like the 2nd grade, and I said, Correga, his name's little Correga. I said, Correga, we're going to try different color foods. And he was like, okay. So we're going to start with green. Started with green grapes. He ate green. He wanted green grapes every day after we had green grapes. Like, this kid never had grapes. He eats green grapes. Then we moved to kiwi. Then we moved to spinach. And he started wanting to put spinach on his little turkey sandwiches. And I was like, okay. Then we went to orange, and he started eating. We had some sweet potatoes. He ate sweet potatoes. We had, we just evolved. And then he started having like this spectrum of food, like one from each color that he liked. Right? He learning how to feed his body because he didn't know he was eating French fries and chicken tenders. I don't know why restaurants, the kids menu. If you look at the kids menu on kids restaurants, it's the worst. Pepperoni pizza, chicken tenders and French fries, Kraft mac and cheese, or any mac and cheese really, just mac and cheese, spaghetti, nothing green. I can't think of any children's menu that has like a salad. Or some carrots or peaches, even the fruit is like that fruit cocktail-y. No one's eating that. So anyway, I digress. But nurturing yourself will get you to your highest self. Drinking lots of water helps you stay clear. Omi. Drinking lots of water helps you stay clear. Omi. Drinking lots of water helps you stay clear. Omi. I realized I have not drank water in 2 days this morning. 2 whole days I have not drank water. I was outside in the field cutting stuff with no water. Not good. That's probably why my body this morning was like, sluggish. Can we watch the time? I don't know what the time is. I'm just running around. sit with it for a minute. But it says, and without controversy, great is the mystery of godliness. God was manifested in the flesh, justified in the spirit, seen of angels, preached unto the Gentiles, believed on in the world, and received up into glory. Wow. Read that again. And without controversy, great is the mystery of godliness. God was manifest in the flesh, justified in the spirit, seen of angels, preached unto the Gentiles, believed on in the world, and received up in glory. Now, God was born of the flesh. Your God self is the thing that gets you to being justified in your spirit. Being justified in your spirit means what, Omi? Good character. Doing the right, not the right thing, doing the thing that makes you feel good in your spirit. If it don't feel good for you, don't do it. Don't say yes when you want to say no. A friend of mine's relative was passing on, and they felt guilty that they weren't there enough, doing enough, present enough, because they were doing other things and working and trying to get things in order and all of that. Know that what you did was enough. You know what I'm saying? You did it. You can do. That's all you can do. That over giving, over nurturing, over pleasing, over let me make myself worthy by being everything you need me to be in this life and not taking care of myself. That is low vibration. Being in your highest self is raising up above that and being like, I'm going to do what I can. I'm not going to feel guilty about what I can't do. I'm going to honor the spirit that told me what I should do, right? Instead of going over and sitting by someone's bedside and all that stuff, send them some food. One of my surrogate mama, Laurel Winston, sending her some love and energy and breath and light and ease of pain and all of the things, is having a cancer experience right now. And is not mobile as much as she would like to be. And, she's having to sit down. She's doing chemo and taking care of herself as much as she can. But, I would love to be there every day, sitting with her. Just checking on her. For my own personal ego reasons. I want to make sure you're good because ain't nobody going to take care of you the way I do or whatever, right? And I recognized that when she told me she was sick again, that, she is somebody that I had adopted as a mother figure in my life. And we're very close. She reminds me of my mother. There's all these signs and symbols and synchronistic things that happened in our relationship that just brings my mother straight to me all the time. She sounds like her. She's built like her, all the things. But my ego was like, I should be there taking care of her. I've taken this responsibility as a daughter. But when she told me that she was sick, my first thought was to my own mother who died of lupus in 2008. And I was like, how are you going to bring me another mother to take care of and she going to die too? That was my first thought. And then I felt guilty for having that thought. Why did I have that thought? Because I was in fear that someone else that I loved, that I considered a mother, was going to die. Which was my ego. And I had to stop and be like, wait a minute, why are you acting like this woman is dying? She's having an experience. She's doing everything she can do to take care of herself. She's having treatments. Let the treatments and the healing do its work, and you do what you do, which is pray over her, lay your hands on her, and try to help her stay comfortable and laughing through this experience. And that's what I'm doing, But that's because I had to separate the ego of about me. It's not about me. It's not about me. None of this is about me, right? So I say that to say, as you're moving through this week, as you're moving through this pandemic, as you're moving through this consciousness of death and change, because that's really what we're in right now. We are in a purging of the universe to come to a different level of consciousness. Different level of consciousness means honoring your God self, honoring the voice within, honoring those things that you know to be true about yourself to help you elevate yourself. It's our time. close your eyes if you're driving. Please don't pull over. I listen to meditation music while I'm in the car, which is probably not a good idea, but whatever. Let's inhale really big. Take in all this good, beautiful Seattle Pacific Northwest air, or wherever you're at, and exhale. Inhale in again, and exhale. And one more, because the third one is the charm. Inhale light, inhale love, inhale good vibes and good juju. And exhale anything that is not of your highest, most holy, beautiful self. I give thanks and praise to all the spirits, all the energies, angels, guardians, and guides, forces of nature, the wind, the water, the earth, the sky. I give thanks and praise for all of those things that were here with us in this right now moment to bless us and help us get to a higher level of our consciousness and get connected with our ancestors and our culture and the things that make us the most divine human spirits on this planet. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Give thanks.